Hello, and good evening. Welcome to Tea Time Tuesday. This is Patrick J. Brown, the Executive Director of Renewal Center here in Concord, North Carolina. Excited to have you here with us during tea time. Hopefully that you're able to connect with us today. I know that earlier today, we generally, every first, second, and of course on third Tuesdays, our tea time is actually at noon. But today we ran into some glitches in our Wi-Fi, and so we're here today at 6 p.m. So you might be on your drive home, you might be just getting in, settled in your home, but again, and also you might be watching the replay. But I appreciate you really being a tea timer and connecting with us today. So if you're out there, please let me know that you're there. I ask that you tag your friends, share it on your pages, and let me know that we are connected here this evening. Hope that you're having a very good Tuesday so far and a good start of your week. Excited about being back on with you again. I'm here at the Renewal Center here in the Action Room. And I want to encourage you also, for those of you that may be new to the Renewal Center and to Tea Time, we are located 159 Church Street here in the historic district of Concord, North Carolina. It's somewhat like a third space, a space between your home and work, a space for wellness, a space to think, to reflect, to create here on the grounds at the Renewal Center. So really grateful to have this type of space here in the Concord, Charlotte area. So if you're ever in this region, please feel free to stop by and connect with us here at the Renewal Center. We are, again, the Center for Prophetic Thought, Voice, Art, and Action. And so it's all about hospitality. It is an incredible space for you to be able to create here in our art and voice room. You can recline, ignite your creative ingenuity, tap into our complimentary Wi-Fi. It's also, I'm here currently in our action room, actually. And this is a good space, a good working space as well, for conversation, for innovation, for thinking. And then also, of course, we have our cafe. So actually, what's your tea of choice today? That'd be nice to hear from you on that. Stop by our cafe, have some coffee and tea on us, and also in our thought room. We have well over 300 books in the thought room area, and you can go in there and have a time to contemplate, to read, to study. And so I just want to welcome you here to the Renewal Center. And again, I'm grateful to have you a part of our tea time today. So let me know if you're out there, tea timers. Want to welcome you to our tea time today. I'm excited about having you on. And again, I do apologize earlier for our technology concerns, but we're still here and looking forward to engaging you today. A couple of things I want to get covered here in terms of our awarenesses as we kicked off June, moving into the summer months. June we're acknowledging and honoring Alzheimer's Brain Awareness Month, June 2024. And so I do have some of my purple on today, honoring Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. I believe just want to be mindful of those that may be suffering from Alzheimer's, or those who may have had family members dealing with Alzheimer's or brain diseases. And so we want to really focus on brain awareness, Alzheimer's awareness in the month of June. And also, so I do have my purple one, so I'm excited about being able to be a support. Even in my own family, we have dealt with that as well. And so just grateful to have that honor and that awareness. Also, we're going to be honoring June is National Men's Health Awareness Month. And, June in Men's Health Awareness is about informing men about the value of preventative health and the importance of participating in health screenings to prolong lifespan and support their role as a productive family member. And so we also want to honor Men's Health Awareness in the month of June. Very important month. There are a lot of different statistics out there. We want to see the stats change concerning men, and what happens with men in terms of their physical health. And so again, June is Men's Health Month, and we're honoring that awareness here at the Renewal Center. So good to see you out there. If you're out there, please hashtag I am Renewal. Let me know that you're there today, and let me know that you're engaged with me today. Also, let me know, what is your tea of choice for today? What's your tea of choice? Our tea of the week for the Renewal Center is strawberry iced tea. We're coming into that season where it's about iced tea. We're coming into that season, a season of refreshing. And so looking forward to you being a part of this today, our tea time, and sharing with me what is your tea of choice today. The Renewal Center's tea of choice, tea of the week is strawberry iced tea. That is a refreshing iced tea. And so actually my tea of choice for today is vanilla bean macaron. So that's what I have, my tea of choice in my Renewal Center mug as well. So very refreshing. This is a savory black tea that I'm drinking today, fragrant with vanilla and a dash of cinnamon. And I tell you, it is tasty and refreshing. And so please share with me again your tea of choice. Ours is strawberry iced tea. You can come here to the Renewal Center and sit outside on our porch and reflect. Good, refreshing tea. So excited about being able to refresh today. What's your drink or tea of choice today? Good to see you all on. Hello, Hope, our director of our digital and stewardship. Good to see you. Lemon water. All right. Nichelle, good to see you. Great evening to you as well. Good to see all of our tea timers on. Please tag your friends and also share this on your pages. Let's get the engagement up today because we have a part 2 about rerouting rejection today. I know last week I was able to facilitate those renewal practices. And so today we're going to hone in on that. Good to see you, Carmela, our director of all of our programming, our community and renewal programming. So good to have you on. Good evening to you as well. Everybody, what's your tea of choice? And also please share on your pages and tag your friends. So good to see all of you today during tea time. All right. So let's go ahead and let's spend some time here in locating yourself. Please ground yourself right where you are. We're going to take some time to center ourselves and ground ourselves. If you've had a very busy day, even starting off Monday with a busy week, tea time is that space to pause. We want to stop what we're doing. We want to reset ourselves, and then we build resilience by connecting with one another. And so we're going to take a few minutes to ground ourselves, if you will. I want you to find a space where you can center yourself, and then we're going to go into a time of reflection, a time of refreshing and renewing ourselves today. So let's take a minute and go ahead and take a deep breath as you center yourself. Take a minute to locate yourself, center yourself. Mhm. A few more breaths in. Go ahead. All right. I hope that you've centered yourself today. Hope that you are refreshed as you located yourself, grounded yourself, centered yourself after such a full day, or even if you're in the middle of your day with a different shift. This is your time to refresh yourself. And so that's what tea time is all about. It's about pausing, about resetting and building resilience. And so again, I want to thank you for tagging your friends and sharing. And let's jump into our renewal practices for the day. I know that we're at a different time for today, but I hope that our tea time community is engaged. Last week, I had an opportunity to share concerning rerouting rejection. For those of you that were with us last week, we spent some time dealing with rejection and times when we are told no, times when doors seem to be closed, or times when we had to reroute rejection. It could be loss of a job, it could be not getting an opportunity, a particular door or option not opening for you. or even denial of certain things regarding relationships or friendships. And so we all deal with different aspects of rejection in our lives. And so last week, we had an opportunity to do focus on the renewal practices regarding uncovering your true worth and how rejection is not a reflection of your worth. So this is last week's focus. We talked about cultivating resilience, the importance of learning and growing from a rejection experience, but ensuring that rejection is not a reflection of your worth. That was our emphasis from last week's tea time renewal practices concerning rerouting rejection. And then we begin to emphasize the importance of acknowledging that it's there, that it happened, and we need to redefine our worth and cultivate a sense of belonging on the inside. So again, I'm acknowledging what's taking place. And as I acknowledge that and I'm aware of it, I now can focus on redefinition and then cultivating a sense of belonging within myself. So that was last week's renewal practices. We spent some time concentrating on that. Good to see. Yes, it was powerful, Mel. I tell you, last week when we were focusing on rerouting rejection. Hey, Charlisa, good to see you. Good evening to you as well. Good to have you on. So what today, our tea time is going to be similar to that, but we're going to concentrate on overcoming rejection and rebuilding creative confidence. Now, in other words, if you've ever dealt with having to overcome being denied access to something because of rejection, an opportunity that didn't open up, even more moments of failure that may feel like a rejection situation, you can handle them and you can actually build resilience through that by focusing on creative confidence. I want everyone, if you're watching, go ahead and put in the comments creative confidence. Creative confidence. That is what we're going to focus on in order for us to overcome or even reroute rejection when it comes. So that's our emphasis for today. We want to focus on renewal practices about rerouting rejection by creative confidence. So please place that in the chat, creative confidence. All right, so let's dive into this. First thing I want us to focus on today is how do we celebrate our wins, no matter how small? Celebrating your wins is important. And one thing about celebrating wins, no matter how small they may be, is taking ownership over those small wins and celebrating them. I want you right now to take a pause and look at what wins you can celebrate. If you go through a rejection, celebrate your wins. You may say, oh, I've applied for a lot of jobs. I've applied for different roles. I put in a proposal. It didn't go through. How do we really look at celebrating the wins that we currently have? I want you to take a good look at your life and think about the wins that you have. And that is what we need to do, is to celebrate wins. Because sometimes we've forgotten how far we've come because we haven't taken time to celebrate the wins. Go ahead and put in the comments, creative confidence, creative confidence. And I also want us to take a moment to look at the wins that we currently have. I want you to think about it. If you're using your tea time journal right now, if you're in reflection right now, I want you to think about specifically celebrating your wins. Think about what you've already done. Think about how far you've come. And as you think about how far you've come and you look at your wins, I want you to really consider taking the time to celebrate and to honor them. Taking the time to celebrate and honor them. So celebrating wins are important because what it does is it helps us recognize what we've achieved, even in the face of going through rejection. Rejection, there's a blockage, something is, so I'm going to take time. And it's always easier for someone else to tell us these things than for us to tell ourselves. So here's what we're going to do. I want to encourage you as you go through this summer of transition, June, July, August, you're taking vacation time or you're taking time to refresh yourself. I want you to create a jar that is about winning. I want you to do a win jar. Get your little juice jar, something like that, or a leftover juice, wash it out, clean it up. And you know what? I want you to focus on your wins. I Write down everything you've achieved, no matter how small they might be, and keep them in that jar. Revisit them when you need a boost of confidence. So you put your jar to the side. Might be in your room. It might be someplace where you can see it every day. But when you keep that win jar, what you're doing is you're looking at your wins. You're looking at achievements. Doesn't matter how small, how large they might be. You're looking at the value of what you've done, so that when you go through a rejection experience, it doesn't project your self-worth or self-value, because you've taken ownership over the experience. See, it is important to talk about rejection and failures. They become formative moments for growth when we discuss them. Here's an experience that I had. And when you talk about those experiences of rejection and failures, you can then begin to form a moment of growth by looking at how you celebrate your wins. So take some time right now, if you will. Jot down a few of your wins. Write down some of your achievements, no matter how small they might be. Keep them in a jar and revisit them. So when you need a boost of confidence, you need a boost. What you're doing now is you are doing self-affirming practices. And so you're not waiting for somebody else to do that for you. You have a self-affirming practice that you're now putting into the atmosphere of your life. Carmela says, I welcome the idea of the win jar. Thank you so much. Yes, you want to have a win jar. I would encourage you to do that. You can even do it within your group. You can do it within your workplace. You have a space where, as a team, here are things that we're achieving. We can do it virtually. We can do it physically. Here are things that we've achieved incredibly well, things that we've done. And then you begin to really focus when you hit a low point or a jam or a circumstance, you begin to replay and revisit, and it becomes self-affirming for you individually, but also affirming as a collective team. And so you have a win jar. Everybody writes some of those achievements in there, no matter, again, how small they might be. All right. We've achieved it. And so as a result of achieving it, we want to have some time of affirming ourselves and validating ourselves. When you need to pick me up, you're not waiting for somebody else to say it to you. What are your thoughts on the win jar and the importance of celebrating wins? Celebrating wins as a practice, as a renewal practice. Again, we're going to focus on that as part of rerouting rejection. You also acknowledge your progress when you do that, because what you're doing is you're recognizing your growth and you're recognizing things that you've actually been able to achieve. Thoughts on that? Now, lastly, you can find your cheerleaders, but that's a little later on. But I think it's important that we learn how to reroute internally in ourselves. And the more that you do that, the better you get at it, and the more it becomes a part of your practice of renewing yourselves. So that's our first focus of being able to overcome rejection and reroute it in rebuilding creative confidence, because I've been through layoffs before. I've been through being laid off. I remember it took me some years to find a new role. I'll never forget it. And I had to really make sure that I celebrated what I had already done. And that helped me begin to look at the importance of having grit and strength to be able to move on to the next opportunity by ensuring that I looked at what I was able to already achieve. And that kept me confident that I had competencies, that I had strengths, that I had certain tendencies that I know that I was going to be able to produce value, whether it's through an entrepreneurial or an entrepreneurial endeavor. Celebrate your wins. How many are going to celebrate your wins out there? Go ahead and let me know. You're going to celebrate your wins. What are some of your wins? Go ahead and write it down. Go ahead and create that jar. I'd love you to take a picture and post it to us here at the Renewal Center. Let us know that you're creating your wins. This should be your summer, your entire 3 months. Think about the wins in your life. I'm looking at what happened to me a few months ago. I had a health situation that took place, and I'm currently finishing my doctoral degree, and I'm on the last leg of my race. And I began to think, wow, 3 years ago and 3 summers ago, I was just starting, trying to get clarity on what I was going to research. And I'm at a place where I'll be defending proposals really soon. Umpteen papers later, hundreds of articles later, hundreds of hours of driving and being online and taking courses, unlearning and relearning and learning. And I began to look at each of those phases in my residencies and my courses. And now I'm looking at all the wins that I've had, even when I hit a situation where my back's against the wall. All right. So again, celebrate your wins. Carmela says that it draws your focus to the positive aspects of what you're doing. That is spot on. Absolutely. The more that you celebrate your wins, the more you focus on the positive aspects of what you're doing now. And also it helps position you for growth. When you experience a rejection situation, you're not allowing that to dominate who you are. And again, celebrate your wins, share your wins with supportive friends who can celebrate them with you. Let's keep going. What else? Reframe your failures. Go ahead and put that in the comments, everyone. Reframe failures. We're going to reframe failures. First one was what? Celebrate your wins. Creative confidence. Now we're going to focus on reframing failures. What is your definition of reframing someone? When you think about the word reframe, what comes to your mind when you think about reframing? Love to hear from you. Reframing. What is Villanella Bean? It's good. Reframing. All right. Type in the comments, reframe failures. What does reframing mean to you? When you think about the term reframing, what comes to your heart? What comes to your mind? Because that's the next renewal practice we're going to engage in, is reframing failures and the importance of doing that. Because at some point, we got to discuss what we're experiencing. And when we experience those things, it's important to reframe it. Because once we reframe a picture, it draws out other aspects and details that you have not seen before. If you have a picture that you bought and you want to frame it, it's a difference using a different color frame, because different colors of frames will bring out the imagery. It brings out the details of the actual image, the painting or whatnot. It could be white bordered, black bordered, burgundy bordered, gold bordered, silver bordered, what have you. Once you put in that frame begins to help you hone in on the other colors and images that within that painting, within the picture. Reframe failures are important in order for you to give yourself time to recover from a rejection situation. And so let's dive into this as a renewal practice as well, and the importance of it, because you don't want to avoid the negative narrative. It's inevitable. How you respond is key. Everybody say response matters. Put that in the chat. How you respond is key. Response matters. The way we respond matters. All right. What does reframing mean to you? Means to me to take a matter and evaluate it to make changes necessary to achieve the desired outcome. All right. Thank you for sharing that. What else? To view from a different perspective. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. So we want to reframe failures, and that response also matters. How we respond to the rejection matters. How we respond to failure situation matters. And so we don't want to avoid it. Here it is. It's right there in front of me. All right. So it's important that we shift away from self-critique when we're experiencing a particular rejection experience. Give yourself some time. Feel the disappointment. It happened. Yes, I'm disappointed. And now I'm going to refocus my energy in a positive direction. Hence why we have a win jar. We celebrate the wins so that we can reframe our failures and avoid the negative narratives, because they're going to come. We're going to experience the narratives. They're going to come. I remember when I got laid off before, and it's like, I can't believe it. What's happening? What's going on? I felt the experience. I felt the disappointment because of the work that I did, the relationships I had, the collegial connections that were there. But I also began to recognize it's important to reframe it and not get into self-critique. Give yourself time. Refocus in a positive direction. Here are some of the things and achievements and accomplishments that I was able to enact. And now I'm going to seek a different perspective and gain new insights and uncover opportunities for growth. Reframe your failures. All right, I'm going to pause here for a moment and sip on this tea and love to hear from you. What are your thoughts now about the importance of shifting away from self-critique as a reframing of failure in your renewal practices? Giving yourself time, seeking different perspectives. All these are important in order for you to reframe your failure. All right. Talking about again today, creative confidence, rebuilding creative confidence when we're rerouting rejection. All right, let's keep moving forward here. All right, next thing what we'll do is, of course, as we talked about shifting your mindset, which is part of also looking at the narratives that we have and ensuring that we can replace that rejection by shifting our mindset, reflect on what you really want, and adjust your approach accordingly. That's important. All right. Volunteering your time. We already know about self-care because that's what we're doing right now by pausing and resetting and building resilience. We're doing that right now in our renewal practices here during tea time. Part of that is shifting your mindset. All right, well, let me serve. Let me give. Let me reassess what I want. Let me ensure that I'm taking time and things that nourish my mind and body and my soul and my spirit and fills my cup instead of depleting it. That'll help you recharge in the midst of a rejection situation so that you can focus on, if I shift my mindset, then I'll get new skill sets as well. Because now my mind is shifting and it's preparing space for a new skill to emerge from within me, even in the midst of the rejection situation. All right? Because that's part of reframing. Part of reframing is also shifting the mentality that we might have during that moment. All right? Shift your mindset. Put that down in your journal. Reassessing, taking a step back to reflect on what you really want. What do you really want out of this experience when you're going through a time that you got to reboot for your creative confidence? That's important as well. All right. What else can you do during times to overcome or reroute rejection? Well, tell your story. What does that mean? That means identify your strengths. Right now, I want you to put one strength in the comments or one strength in your journal right now. Think about that. What is a strength that you possess? Even in the midst of a rejection situation, you go back to looking at your strengths. You go back and focus on how do you tell your story? Clearly articulate the unique value that you offer and how you can contribute. And you do that because you have a track record of demonstrating those strengths. You have a track record and evidence and facts about the strengths that you currently possess and really refine your narrative. How do you really explain your background? Do you know how to really bounce back and share? Here's my strengths. Here's where I am. Your elevator pitch, if I can use that term. All right. Knowing what your strengths are and being able to do that. So let's continue to focus on that and knowing how to tell our story. And then, of course, seeking feedback from trusted people who can help improve your self-representation. That point number 3 about telling your story is critical. Asking trusted mentors or asking peers for input to improve your self-representation. What does that mean? That you're really demonstrating these particular competencies because you can talk about those and you can give stories and facts and evidence concerning your story and those strengths that you currently possess. That helps you when you've identified those strengths. Now, I'm talking about just necessarily taking an assessment as much as knowing what those strengths are because you're demonstrating them and you refine your narrative. When's the last time you really refined your narrative? When's the last time you really sought out feedback and you got input from a trusted mentor and peers who gave you input to improve your self-representation? That's important. Identify them, refine them, and seek feedback. All that is critical. All right. Make sure that you put in the comments what your strengths are and write down in your comments in your journals also, because you want to ensure that you spend the majority of your time in your strengths, not in your weak areas. You spend the majority of your time honing your strengths, sharpening your strengths, refining your strengths, polishing your strengths so that you can manifest those strengths. Whatever you give attention to is where you're going to be drawn to. So spend the majority of your time in those spaces as a renewal practice when you're dealing with overcoming rejection and creating confidence, rebuilding creative confidence. All right. So again, telling your story. Let's keep moving forward. Hopefully this is helpful. If this is helpful, please hashtag, if you will. All right. Creative confidence, or just put it again in the chat, creative confidence. Stay with me. All right. Refining your narratives, any of the things that we're really focusing on today. All right. We already know about building support networks. So we've discussed that about with mentors and peers and professionals, ensuring that you're getting perspectives to help you overcome the blockers. All right. Those things exist so that you can overcome blockers, whether it's a coach, whether it's a counselor to help you deal with things from the past that impact the present. Coaches generally help you focus on what's in front of you in order for you to move forward by identifying certain patterns and cycles that you might have, and then helping you with a skill set and mindset to shift you into creating your future. And so you might need that as well. All right. So it's important that we focus on creative confidence by looking at what we've talked about earlier. Again, let's go through it. Reframing our failures, celebrating our wins with your win jar. All right. Shifting our mindsets. That's important. Telling your story. I challenge you to refine your narrative. I challenge you to practice explaining your background. During the month of June, practice it. Talk to one of your friends, a peers, a colleague, and say, I want to work on my self-representation so it can be accurate and brief and clear. How to say something in 30 seconds or less, right? And have them give you feedback so that you can know how to explain your background and goals in a compelling way. It might be with a specific role that you have in your life. It might be a professional role. It might be a personal role. But I think it's important that as you're dealing with overcoming rejection, it's important to identify your strengths and tie them to your roles and refine your narrative from there. All right. I hope this is helping you today with overcoming rejection. And perhaps you can use this in your business. You can use this in your career. You can use this in a professional situation. All right, let's keep moving forward. We talked about building a support network. Now let's move into embracing the process. Embracing the process that you're experiencing right now, and take time to learn, the lessons from your experiences. Reflection is clarifying. Reflection is clarifying, because when you reflect, you get clarity. There's no more shifting of blame, regardless of the situation. You take ownership of what's going on inside of you. And so reflection is clarity, or brings clarification. It's interesting because I have a journal for the month of June that I'm using, because there's some specific areas that I want to reflect on during the month of June, each and every day. Sometimes it's a sentence, sometimes it's a paragraph, sometimes it's creative, sometimes I'm doodling. What I'm doing now is focusing on this. Reflection brings clarification, because in my mind, I'm thinking about, as I graduate and finish a doctorate, how am I going to use this more effectively? How am I sharpening my focus? How am I making sure I'm on laser target in this research that I'm emphasizing and digging into? And so I'm using this as a creative outlet, and that helps me tell my story. It helps me refine it. It helps me reframe. And so reflecting is clarity. Reflecting is clarity. Reflection is clarity. It brings clarification. When you reflect in the midst of rejection, you experiment by trying new approaches, and you're open to evolving your methods now. Hmm. Now we're in the meat of this renewal practice. When you reflect, you bring clarifications because you've already acknowledged what you're feeling and you've moved on from there. Because now, after you've acknowledged it, I'm aware of what's happening. I'm feeling the disappointment. Here's where it is. Now I'm going to spend time in reflection. What actually happened? What can I learn from this experience? How can I emerge and grow and evolve through this? How much energy am I giving to replaying this in my mind when now it's time to say, okay, what am I grasping from this? How is this, looking at this like a garden experience? I'm turning over the soil in my mind and say, what new seeds can I plant? Or with this experience, what can emerge from this? What can come forward with this with reflection? Because reflection, again, is clarity. It brings clarification. So I'm spending time in reflection so that I can now experiment next. And I can try a new approach. I evolve. I learn something new. I'm able to reach out and ask for insight. I'm gaining the feedback that I need. I'm asking for help. I'm pliable. I'm moldable to grow and emerge in something new and sharp, because it might be a new situation. It might be a new client circumstance. It might be a new business. It might be a new business experience that you've never experienced before, whether it's professional or personal. It's about reflecting and looking at what you need to experiment so that you can move forward and make progress, which is to point 3 here, is that's the embracing process of creative confidence. Let's get that down. Reflect, experiment, persist. Reflect, experiment, persist. I'm reflecting because that brings clarification. That's where I begin to learn the lessons from the experience. I'm experimenting because now I'm going to try something new. So now I'm building that resilience. I'm building resolve. I'm bringing something fresh and new, a different approach, a new idea that I've never thought about before. And now I'm doing that and I'm persisting. Because I know that in reflection and experimentation, that takes time and I'll see progress eventually. All right. Talking about, again, rerouting rejection and creative confidence. And then you can finally reclaim your confidence. Mhm. Again, look at your strengths and your capabilities. Learn from the setbacks. Be open to the changing the course. Bounce back stronger when you get resilience. Stay connected to your why. That's your creative spark. All right. Yes, this experience happened. All right. What can I do differently? Go back to my passion. Go back to my root. Go back to my spark. What is it that I really want to do? Where do my strengths lay? How am I telling my story? What am I driven to be and to do and to become? And so all these areas come from out of that gut level in your life. And so it's important that when you're thinking about these things, you also consider the self-belief part. We talked about that earlier, celebrating wins with the win jar. Adaptability. Okay, I'm experiencing the disappointment. I'm acknowledging it. I'm aware. And so because of that, now I can tell a different story because I'm refining my narrative. I'm asking the questions, what do I really want to do? And where do my stints lie? And how am I telling those stories? And I can say this, whatever you do, just make sure you don't store it all up inside. Again, whatever you do, just make sure you don't store it all up inside. Don't just store it and store it. Okay. Take a moment to reassess, to recalibrate, to reflect, because it does bring clarity. Even if there are a few rejections in a row, I'll never forget that. I had all these final interviews, nothing was coming in, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Am I doing something wrong? What's going on? Okay. Those are important that you're able to do that because you are the best advocate for yourself. You're the best at advocating for yourself, and you're the best at explaining your narrative, but we got to practice it. We got to put it into practice. And it's important because once you learn how to tell your story, and if you don't tell your story, somebody else will tell it for you, and they'll never tell it. They'll build your world too small, and they'll never tell it the way that you can. So it's important that you're able to demonstrate what's unique about you. All right, write that down. Demonstrate what is unique about you and be able to explain that. Not only demonstrate it, but also explain it. All right, that's so important for you to be able to embrace that. Yes, creative confidence. Self-improvement is essential. Adaptability is strength. Our strengths are important for confidence and growth. My strength is resilience. Creative confidence. Good. Creative confidence. That's right. Reflection brings clarification. A lot of good things. Grit. Absolutely. So these are important practices that we want to be able to implement if we're going to be people who are going to be able to understand that in the midst of rerouting rejection and overcoming it, I got to rebuild my creative confidence. Let's recap here. All right. Call to action. Keep a win jar. Write them down, no matter how small. Keep them in a jar. Revisit them when you need a boost, because one day you're going to need it. It is inevitable. We all deal with no's and rejections in life. And you can acknowledge your progress by saying, here's where I am. I'm going to share this with my supportive environment. And then I'm going to give myself time in the midst of this so that I can shift away from self-criticism. Okay, response matters. It is key. Allow yourself to experience it and then refocus your energy in a positive direction by seeking out new perspectives. How do we do that? Well, that's reframing failures, but it's also shifting your mindset. And once your mindset is shifting, you can tell your story by looking at what strengths you have, articulate the unique value of it, and refine your narrative. All right, these are a few things you want to do here, and preparing yourself during the summer season. This is a good time to do it. Refreshing yourself, renewing yourself, perhaps for the fall, and saying, okay, I've got a project, I've got a presentation, there's a particular area of growth that I'm working towards. And so I want to refine my narrative and get the feedback that I need so that I can explain clearly what my background is or what I want to do in a compelling way, and get the feedback that I need to help me in my self-representation. And of course, lastly, ensure that you have your support network around you and focus on looking at your strengths and capabilities, your adaptability. We talked about reflecting, right? We talked about not only reflecting, but experimenting and then persisting. So embrace the process, and then you can reclaim your confidence. Go back to your root. Why? That creative spark is so important because that's what centers you and that's what grounds you. All right. Well, we're about to close out here in our tea time for today. But before we do that, please let me know, what are your takeaways? If you're out there in my tea time audience, let me know, what are your takeaways? How has this benefited you today? What are some of your perspectives that you want to implement? Things that are new for you, things that you need to refine and sharpen. As you're thinking about that, first of all, I want to thank everyone for being on today. And I hope that as you benefited from Tea Time, I'd like you to consider today being a partner with the Renewal Center. What does that mean, being a part of the Renewal Center? We're a nonprofit in North Carolina, in Concord, North Carolina, and want to give you an opportunity to financially donate and support to the Renewal Center in our giving challenge. We are a nonprofit that helps us with our programming, that's helped us with the activity that's taking place here at our Creative Space and Wellness Center as we're creating our initiatives, focusing on driving our programming for not only for you and for others. And so we'd like you to consider being a part of the Renewal Center on a monthly basis as a partner with us. Whether you're a tea timer, whether you come out on Wednesdays to our Reforming Culture, or part of our New You on Sundays, or just coming to the actual center itself. What are you supporting? You're supporting hospitality. You're supporting creativity. in this incredible space that we have, whether it's the action room or the art room or the thought room, or just being here in the cafe space, it helps us with our operations. And so I'd like you to take a pause here and consider giving towards the Renewal Center. You can do Cash App, which is Cash Renewal Center, or Venmo, which is at Renewal Center. PayPal and Zelle is the Renewal Center 2020 Gmail. Or you can go to our website and go to therenewalcenters.com/give, and there's a given option there on that page. Or you can text Renewal Center to 888-364-4483, or you can mail a check or money order to our P.O. Box 1381, Concord, North Carolina 28026. So I'm going to leave that up there for a moment, give you an opportunity to connect with us and say, I'd like to be a monthly supporter with the Renewal Center. I want to connect with you. I want to be able to help and donate and help drive and move this vision forward. Another way you can do it is by downloading our mobile app that we have as well. Our mobile app keeps you connected to all of our digital content, our renewal programs. You're able to read our blog, also any audio or video digital content that we have. You're able to replay it, refresh yourself, renew yourself, enter into that wellness space. So that's so important for those of us that are really seeing the vision and moving it forward here at the Renewal Center. So again, I want to thank you for your donation. I want to thank you for considering being a monthly supporter and a partner with the Renewal Center as a renewer, and really sharing this with others. You know, share with them about the mobile app, share with them about Tea Time Tuesday, share with them about the different offerings and programmings that we provide here in our virtual digital community, as well as here on site. And we're open Tuesdays through Fridays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'd love to you to come and be a part of what we're doing. And so we'd appreciate your connection with the Renewal Center. Also want to share with you just a few announcements coming up here for the Renewal Center. I first want to share with you that we have our reformative summer prayer times. We do have a time of prayer, and that is going to be June 5th and 12th. So that's tomorrow, the first 2 Wednesdays there, and then July 10th and 17th, and August 7th and 14th. You say, well, how can we stay connected to you? You can do that by downloading our mobile app, go to our website, or also go to our social media pages, and you can register using the Zoom link and be a part of our performative summer prayer. That's again on Wednesdays, 7:30, June 5th and 12th, July 10th and 17th, and August 7th and 14th. Also for the women, we have our Women at the Well. It's a Bible study. So ladies, want to share with you also. We had one on Saturday. There's July 13th and August 3rd. And so again, the same link that you'll use for our prayer, it's the same link for the women's Bible study. This is uniquely for you. And so I would encourage you, ladies, you're out there, please connect with us and invite someone to come with you for that. And then I want to share lastly, our GPS, Grief, Pain, and Stress program, our grief recovery webinar. We're launching our Navigating Grief program. I'm excited about this because our grief recovery program is designed to provide compassionate support and effective tools to help you navigate grief. And so we're there. What is GPS? Really defining and describing grief, pain, and stress. And what is grief recovery program information? How you can, if you need grief recovery, you can actually be a part of that as well, individually or also collectively, and how to navigate the healing process. When is it? Friday, August 30th, 7 to 8:30. Where? Virtually, it's going to be on virtual as well. And so we look forward to you being a part of that. Please stay tuned for the registration link. We're putting it out there so you can save the day. All right. And again, I want to thank everyone for participating in our tea time this evening. So let's look at our comments. What are some of our takeaways? All right. Go back to the roots. All right. Yes. Takeaway, refine your narrative. Refine your narrative. Absolutely. Allow room for reframing. This opens up opportunities for me to grow, and I will focus on my wins. Oh, yes, Renita, we were 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry we missed you. Today was a little snafu with all the Wi-Fi issues. So hopefully you can watch the replay and let me know what your thoughts are. So again, and you're welcome, Carmela. I hope that it was insightful. Anybody else out there, let us know any takeaways. If you're out there listening, you're writing, reflecting, or if you want to maybe post something a little later, we'd love for you to be part of that. Charlisa says, focus on how I'm telling, sharing my story that builds my strengths and celebrates my wins. Again, thank you for sharing that. So again, I want to thank everyone for being a part of our Tea Time community today. Do want to remind you that our tea time is every first, second, and third Tuesdays at 12 p.m. noon. And fourth Tuesdays, we have our special tea time, but this is actually at 7 p.m. And so that is our special tea time. So again, thank you for being a part of the community. I want to encourage you, please download the mobile app. I want to remind you, feel free to visit the Renewal Center, 159 Church Street Northeast here in Concord. Come create, come activate, come enjoy coffee or tea, spend time of reflection here at the Renewal Center. And of course, want to encourage you concerning our prayer times, our Women at the Well, and of course, save the date again on Friday, August 30th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. for the Grief Recovery webinar as we locate ourselves and launch our GPS program. And so we're excited about this opportunity to provide this type of programming for you. And again, thank you for those of you that are new to the Renewal Center. We want to welcome you to the Tea Time community. And again, thank you so much for partnering with us. We'd like you to consider today thinking about being a part of the Renewal Center with a donation, a monthly, being a part of who we are, helping us with our vision and our mission to bring wellness, to bring renewal practices to the virtual, digital, as well as our community here in the Concord, Charlotte area. And of course, these are the ways that you can give really easy digital opportunities to sow and give into a nonprofit organization. That's our website, our text options, our PayPal there, our Cash App and Venmo. And so again, I want to thank you for being a part of who we are. All right, absolutely. Thank you so much. Hey, yep, we're going to keep pressing. I hope that today's session has been a strength to all of you. I want to thank you for being a part of the Renewal Center. I'm going to bring up our announcements so that you can continue to view our announcements digitally. And we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday, 12 p.m. noon for our next tea time. All right. Well, it's been wonderful being a part of this community today with you. And we'll see you next time. And again, I am Renewal. Please like, please tag it, and share with someone else concerning the Renewal Center. See you next time.